There are good things that happen and bad things that happen, but each one of these events is a part of our heritage, even if it is a train crash that takes several lives and causes great suffering. A few minutes before 10, on the night of Boxing Day 1902, a freight train was heading east from Sarnia. At the same time, the Pacific Flyer was westbound for Chicago, carrying holiday-goers home after spending Christmas with their relatives the day before. It was running a half-hour late. Both trains were streaming along towards each other on the same track. There was a siding nearby. The freight train was just starting to pull into the siding, but there would not be enough time to get all the cars off the main line. They were going to collide. A blizzard howled across the bleak and lonely fields on both sides of the railway track. The Grand Trunks Pacific Express train number 5 was hurtling down the line at a great rate of speed, trying to make up for lost time. The train, full of passengers returning home, must have left Watford about 10 or 15 minutes before, and was now almost to the Wanstead station. From the west, the light of the locomotive pulling the freight train from Sarnia glimmered through blinding snow. Visibility was probably less than 100 feet. Lambton's worst ever rail disaster was about to take place. It seemed to take forever. It was almost like the two trains were going in slow motion, until they finally met with a grinding crash. As the two engines collided head-on, it was 10 minutes after 10 o'clock on the night after Christmas Day. There was a loud crashing sound as the two trains met, a piercing shriek that just seemed to go on and on for such a long time. Both engines were thrown clear of the single railway track. 2 day coaches between the heavily loaded baggage cars and the Pullman cars. The rear baggage car of the passenger train telescoped one of the day coaches to less than half of its original length. The other day coach and one of the Pullman cars went off the track. Passengers from these cars began to swarm out. More than 20 passengers died instantly, and more than 40 were trapped in the wreckage of the two trains. A small fire broke out, but some of the passengers that got out safely from the wreckage were already throwing snow on the flames or beating at the fire with their coats before it had a chance to spread. For about 3 hours, many injured passengers were still pinned beneath the wreckage of the passenger train. The wounded were carried tenderly to the 2 Pullman cars, which were quickly designated as temporary hospitals. There they were given what attention was possible before medical help could arrive. Several of the passengers had liquor flasks. The most seriously injured were given stimulants. There were also many passengers suffering from shock. They were led to the Pullman cars as well. The weather continued to be bitterly cold, and the wind and snow continued to howl. It was morning by the time surgeons and the wrecking train from Sarnia arrived. The doctors hastened to the wreck through a snow-covered field to set up temporary hospitals and began applying emergency dressings to the most serious wounds. When all of the injured had been found, an engine was coupled to the Pullman car holding the wounded and readied for a journey to medical care in London, 40 miles away. The only good thing about this disaster was a priest, Father Ganam. He was a ministering angel, a constant inspiration, encouraging all who were working at rescuing the injured. But more importantly, he was there to administer last rites to the dead and dying of all faiths. Father Ganam also seemed to be everywhere, comforting all of the injured. He had special words of comfort for every one of the children who were injured, and was so helpful for children whose parents had been hurt or even worse, had died in the accident. He certainly seemed like an angel that day.